Have you ever pondered the origins of the Scottish people? Let's embark on a journey back in time, to around 12,000 years ago, to the days following the last ice age. This is when the earliest inhabitants of what we now know as Scotland began to arrive. These pioneers were not settlers, but rather, they were hunter-gatherers, nomads who had braved the rigors of a post-glacial Europe. Their journey was not a solitary one, as they were part of a wider migration of peoples across the continent seeking new lands to make their own. The ancestors of these early Scots hailed from the distant corners of Western Europe, from the sun-kissed beaches of what is now Spain, to the lush vineyards of present-day France. The blood of these diverse peoples flowed in the veins of the early Scots, a testament to the shared heritage of humanity. As these early Scots began to settle in, they brought with them their unique cultures and traditions. They thrived in the harsh Scottish environment, hunting the abundant game and gathering the rich bounty of the land. But they were not alone. Their DNA tells us that they were part of a broader network of communities across Europe, sharing common ancestry and cultural traits. But this is just the beginning of the story. Around 6,000 years ago, a revolutionary change swept across Europe and reached the shores of Scotland. This was the Neolithic Revolution, a period marked by the advent of agriculture. The DNA of these Neolithic farmers, who likely embarked on their journey from the Near East via Europe, began to mix with that of the hunter-gatherers. This significant migration event dramatically altered the genetic makeup of the Scottish population, setting the stage for the next chapters in the history of the Scottish people. So, as we delve deeper into the origins of the Scots, we find a story of resilience, adaptability, and a constant ebb and flow of cultures and peoples. These early Scots began the intricate tapestry of Scottish genetics, a tapestry that would only grow more complex with time. Fast forward to around 6,000 years ago, a time of great change dubbed the Neolithic Revolution. The stage was set for a significant shift in Scotland's genetic landscape. Imagine, if you will, a wave of Neolithic farmers arriving on the shores of Scotland. These weren't just people in search of new lands, but pioneers bringing with them an innovation that would revolutionize life agriculture. They hailed from the Near East, journeying through Europe and eventually reaching Scotland. As they settled, they sowed seeds not just in the fertile ground but also in the genetic makeup of the local population. The DNA of these farmers, carriers of new and diverse genetic material, largely replaced that of the preceding hunter-gatherers. This Neolithic revolution wasn't merely about the advent of farming. It was a remarkable period of human evolution, a time when the ancestral tapestry of Scotland began to weave in complex and intriguing patterns. As we delve deeper into history, we see a pattern of continuous change and adaptation. The Bronze Age, roughly 4,500 years ago, ushered in another wave of change. It was during this era that a new group of people set foot on Scottish soil, journeying from continental Europe, particularly from the vast steppes of what is today Ukraine and Russia. Their arrival didn't merely add new faces to the population. No, it brought about a significant cultural shift, introducing the art of metalworking to the region. Imagine the awe and wonder of the locals as they witnessed the transformation of raw, earthly materials into tools, weapons, and perhaps even early forms of jewelry. But the influence of these Bronze Age immigrants wasn't confined to their skills and knowledge. Their genetic contribution further diversified the Scottish DNA, adding another layer to the intricate genetic tapestry of Scotland. This constant influx and integration of different peoples throughout history is what makes the genetic landscape of Scotland so fascinating. Scotland's genetic makeup, much like its history, is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its people. As we move into the Iron Age, we encounter the Celts. The Iron Age, a period that spans from around 800 BC to the arrival of the Romans in the 1st century AD, was a time of significant cultural influence in Scotland. The Celts, a group known for their unique languages, art, and social structure, left an indelible mark on the Scottish landscape. Now, it's important to note that when we talk about the Celts, we're not talking about a single homogeneous group of people who swept in from the continent. Rather, the term Celts refers to a broad collection of tribes and clans who shared similar cultural traits and linguistic roots. And according to the DNA evidence, it's likely that these traits were spread through contact and trade, rather than by large-scale movements of people. Indeed, the DNA story of the Iron Age in Scotland isn't so much about fresh waves of migration, Instead, it's about continuity. The genetic information of the people living in Scotland during this period shows a significant degree of overlap with that of the Bronze Age inhabitants. This suggests a stable population, one that absorbed new cultural influences and technologies while maintaining a strong connection to its past. The Iron Age inhabitants of Scotland were not isolated, far from it. They were part of a vast network of trade and communication that spanned the British Isles and extended into Europe. They traded goods, they exchanged ideas, and they intermarried. All of these interactions left their mark on the genetic makeup of the Scottish people, but they didn't erase the legacy of the earlier inhabitants. So what does this mean? Well, it means that the Scotland of the Iron Age was a place of cultural exchange and integration. It was a land where new ideas were welcomed and absorbed, where people from different backgrounds lived side by side, contributing to the rich tapestry of Scottish culture. The Iron Age paints a picture of a stable population, enriched by cultural exchange rather than large-scale migrations. So, the next time you hear someone talk about the Celts, remember the complex, nuanced history that the term encompasses. Remember the people of the Iron Age, who embraced change while holding on to their roots. The Viking Age, spanning the 8th to 11th centuries, left an indelible mark on Scotland. Norse invaders, with their long ships and battle axes, didn't just bring fear and chaos, they also brought their genes. The Norse left a substantial genetic footprint, especially in the Orkney and Shetland Islands, areas of Scotland where we see a pronounced Viking heritage even today. The genetic evidence tells us a fascinating story of a blending of Norse and Scottish ancestry. It wasn't just invasion and force, it was also integration and intermarriage. The Viking influence didn't stop at the shoreline, it flowed into the blood of the Scots, adding another layer to the rich tapestry of Scottish genetic history. So, when you look at Scotland, remember the Vikings. Remember the Norse warriors, traders and settlers who left their homes in Scandinavia, sailed across the treacherous North Sea, and became part of the story of Scotland. The Viking Age was a time of great upheaval, yet it also contributed to the intricate weave of Scottish genetics. As we venture into medieval Scotland, we continue to see a mix of influences. The Scottish medieval DNA, much like a seasoned tapestry, tells a story of Celtic, Norse, Anglo-Saxon and Norman interactions. It's a vivid narrative of culture, conquest and cohabitation, intricately woven into the very fabric of Scotland's genetic makeup. The Highland-Lowland divide, a significant feature of Scotland's geography, also mirrors these subtle genetic differences. The Highlands, steeped in ancient tradition and folklore, and the Lowlands, a crucible of linguistic and cultural exchanges, each bear distinct genetic imprints. These imprints trace back to the various ancient migrations that have shaped Scotland over the millennia. But it doesn't end there. The influence of these ancient migrations is not confined to the annals of history. They continue to reverberate through the ages, leaving their mark on the present. Even today, these ancient migrations echo in the genetic makeup of the Scottish people. In the modern age, the DNA of Scots tells a story of migration and mixing spanning thousands of years. The genetic tapestry of the Scots is truly unique, a testament to the many waves of people who have come to call Scotland home over millennia. Each strand of DNA carries with it a piece of history, a narrative of human movement, adaptation and survival. From the earliest hunter-gatherers who ventured north after the last ice age, to the Neolithic farmers who brought new ways of life, to the Bronze Age peoples from the steppes, and the Iron Age Celts who shaped culture and language, each has left an indelible mark. The Viking Age brought another layer of complexity, with Norse invaders leaving a substantial genetic footprint, especially in the islands of Orkney and Shetland. Even today, DNA reveals a blending of Norse and Scottish ancestry in these regions, a fascinating testament to the impact of these ancient migrations. The medieval period too shaped the genetic landscape of Scotland. The influences of Celtic, Norse, Anglo-Saxon and Norman peoples can be seen in the DNA of modern Scots, reflecting the rich tapestry of history that has shaped this nation. And let's not forget the Highland-Lowland divide, a subtle yet significant genetic boundary that still reflects ancient migrations and settlements. It's a reminder of how geography and culture can shape our genetic makeup, even in a small country like Scotland. Today, researchers continue to delve into the mysteries of ancient DNA, uncovering new insights into the deep roots of Scottish identity. Every discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, another thread to the tapestry, enriching our understanding of the Scottish people and their heritage. In the end, the DNA of the Scots is more than just a biological blueprint. It's a historical document, a chronicle of human experience, a story of migration, adaptation, and survival. From the first hunter-gatherers to the present day, the Scottish people carry within them a rich and complex history, written in the language of our DNA.